Hello and welcome to Items On, the podcast where we get to follow Melee personalities and players both on and off the sticks. My name is Ethiopium, and today we have Swift. Swift, how are you doing today, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
So first off, I got to give a big shout out to Swift because we already did this show a week ago. He was supposed to be our first guest, and my dumbass didn't know how to record, so we didn't get any of the audio. So we're doing this again. So thank you so much to Swift for being the homie and being able to reschedule with the Scuffed podcast. Let's just get right into it, man. We started off with just how you get into the scene. What were you doing before you were in the scene, and how did you find Melee?
Yeah, I remember I found Melee at Evo 2014. I remember I found out that Melee was there. My brother told me, and I watched Grands, and I remember Mango versus Wobbles. And I have a hatred of Ices to this day, so I think that had a little bit to do with it. Is watching my first taste of Melee is watching Mango get wobbled. I'm like, fuck this guy. What is this? And then after that, I slowly got into spectating a lot of competitive Smash in general, like even Brawl too. Just watching it very casually. Eventually, I just started playing. I never started going to tournaments until 2018 is when I started consistently going to tournaments. Before that, I would very sporadically go once every few months. But I consider the end of 2018 to be when I really became a part of the community, I would say.
And how early were you watching VODs and tournaments before? Was that around 2018 or was that before?
That was way before. Ever since 2014, 2015, I've been just paying attention to the community. I would go to locals sometimes because I played, but I didn't play all that much. But I played a fuck ton just by myself against 20XX CPUs because that was before net play.
Yeah.
And I didn't have, or it was before good net play. And net play was pretty scuffed and it was just Anthers. And I would just play against 20XX bots and then just watch VODs all the time. And I thought axe gimping Spaceys was funny.
What was the thing that catechized you to go and play at a tournament? I mean, what was the thing that opened it? Was it going to college or?
So the thing that really made me start going to tournaments consistently and get entrenched in the community was I went to college and I transferred to the University of Maryland, and I didn't really know anybody since I was from out of state, and I just joined a couple of clubs, and one of them was the Smash Club. And I got second at the first tournament I went to, and I hadn't played in a year at that time. And I lost to a wobbling Ices, of course, fucking bullshit character. And and then ever since then, they're like, hey, you should come to this next tournament. That's next week. I was like, okay. And ever since then, I just kept going to tournaments, and it's been one thing led to another, and now I'm where I'm at.
So describe the University of Maryland scene then. Was it just your classic college club weeklies and monthlies?
It was well, the monthlies were cool because those actually had a paid pot bonus, so a lot of good PR players from all around the region would show up. But the weeklies were really chill. It was just Friday night, just free tournament every week. There's a bunch of the students and whoever else wanted to come, but I would just get really fucked up and go and play my Donkey Kong or my Mario and fuck with my friends, and that was my Smash Club experience a lot of the time. And then I did help TO a lot of the monthlies and the tournaments and the weekly. I did a lot for that club, but I also did fuck around there a lot, and it was pretty fun.
As it should be at a college club, man. So I didn't know that you were doing any TO workout at the club. Well, what was that like? Was that something that you're interested in doing, or was that more forced upon you?
It was. At first, I was interested in it, and then it kind of got forced upon me because I was the only one that volunteered to do it. And then the other people that did it graduated, and everyone was just like, "Oh, Dan's good at Melee, so therefore he would want to be the president of the club." And I'm like, "No, I, I didn't." And I just got stuck with it because I felt bad trying to push it on anyone else, even though it was kind of just. Everybody was just so hands off with it that it was just like, whatever, I'm stuck with this and that. And the club is like 80% ultimate kids. And the fucking ultimate TO is like, dude, I'm going to go into my sophomore year. Like, I got too much work scheduled for me. I'm like, what the? Dude, I got to be a senior. I got to find a fucking job. This kid, it's like, oh, you got to be the first. It pissed me off, but I got stuck with it. I put it on my resume. It looks good on resumes and shit because I've TO'd a lot of tournaments, like a lot of monthlies. I TO'd this one tournament. The last thing I TO'd was when was it? It was during like March or May of a year and a half. It was like a year and a half ago during the Ukraine stuff. I did like a Ukraine fundraiser tournament and I raised money for the Ukraine and shit. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Raised like $1,000 for this charity.
That's sick. Yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't know is that you can really put TO stuff on a resume. I did that for grad school and was
it looks good. Like I talked about it in like a job interview and they thought it was interesting. It's like volunteer work. Like you're not making money, so it's just like, you know, if you don't have any other actual job prospects like me.
Who are some of the people that helped you integrate into the Maryland scene?
I met a lot of the people in like the UMD club, and so my friend, his tag is Reese. I actually saw him yesterday in New York, or 2 days ago. He's in New York City right now. He's moving his girlfriend up. He went to school with me. We roomed together for a year. And then, he's just been around MDVA for a long time. He's one of the first people I met. Aglet is someone else one of the first people that I met. He's a really old school Puff player. I don't really see him much anymore. He doesn't play Melee much anymore, but I definitely hung out with him a lot when I was starting out, and he helped introduce me to like everybody and show me around, and it was really cool. But just in general, like I got along with the MDVA scene really, really well, and I'm good friends with mostly everybody at this point.
Was there like a time where you decided like I want to go more competitive, or were you always like a competitive player from the jump?
I think I was just always competitive from the get-go. I didn't realize that I kind of just played and practiced so much. I didn't realize that everybody else didn't play and practice that much. I thought everybody was just a sweaty tryhard. So I thought it was normal to play for like, oh, I just practiced my tech skill for 4 hours straight today. I thought everyone did that. And I got good really fast because of it. So yeah, I guess I was pretty competitive with it because I don't know, I got good really fast. Like if you ask anyone in region, like I just kind of showed up. I was like fringe PR with very little tournament experience. I mean, I'd been playing for a few years at that point, but I didn't really go to much. And I beat Fendrick Lamar, fucking fire win at first good win, bro. And he salty tweeted too.
Really? That always feels good. I feel like when you get one on someone and they go to Twitter afterwards, like, yeah, they felt that.
Yeah. He tweeted, he's like, shouldn't enter a tournament when I didn't play for 2 weeks straight. And I'm just like, bro, this is my first tournament in like a year, man. Fucking come at me. Tyler Swift, the Pikachu player. It was a wild ride, yeah. And I saw Zane and Junebug there. I was like, oh my God, top players. And it was like, first time I really saw top players at a tournament. Yeah, I did good there. And then that was my first like MDVA monthly, which was just a tournament at UMD at the school I went to. Because first I went to the club meeting where I lost to Icy's main. I got second. And they're like, you should come to the monthly tomorrow. And then I did. And that's where it was like the big tournament. And that's like my first like big MDVA tournament. And I met some people knew who I was after that. And then if you know the commentator Jorge,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, everyone knows Jorge now. He would host tournaments called Whorehouse. A great name.
Yeah, that's
At
sick.
his house.
That's a
I
sick
went to
name.
his place for that tournament the week after. And that was really cool also. And then, yeah, ever since then, just kept going to shit.
Dude,
And
I
then
feel
got
like
really entrenched in the scene.
that's one thing that's sort of gone away is like the house tournaments. They
They're
don't
so
see,
much fun.
yeah, those are always
They're
the
so
most
much fun.
I
You
want
just go get fucked up and
just with the homies. It's on
Yeah.
challenge, you know, there's no like power rankings, you just have
Well,
fun
the
with
first
homies.
time I really met Zane was at the next whorehouse, not that one. And he was just blackout drunk. It was really funny. You remember like fucking, it was raining outside. He went outside and like sliced his foot or some shit. And then there's like a video of someone carrying him out of the stream. Bobby, Big Balls, and Jerry were playing an intense best of 5. It's somewhere late into deep into top 8. 2 warriors going at it. And then Zane's drunk ass was just in the stream room, just like passed out. And then I think Penophobia and someone else, I forgot who it was, like had to carry him out. As they're carrying him out, they just drop his head slams against the doorway, and they just pick him up and they keep going. There's a clip of that. I just, that was an obscure memory from that fucking tournament.
Those are the days, dude. I love talking about that.
That's when I first met Zane. We played our first friendlies. I was like, oh my God, I'm playing a top player. And that was pretty cool.
How was that like your first time playing someone that you like looked up to or like you knew as a good player? Was there like that nerves
weird.
or yeah?
Because now it's like so normal.
Mm-hmm.
It was also like I didn't know how to act when or I didn't know. It was so normal for everyone else besides me because I was still new to everything. And he was like a top. I didn't know how to. I don't know. I don't think I was weird or anything, but it was pretty cool to just be able to see people like in that light. Mm-hmm. Like you kind of get a sense that it's like a whole community and not just like these top players or these fucking like mythical, untouchable beings above everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
So it's cool in that regard. I
wanted to go back to something that you touched on, which is how you got good very quickly, like you said, with a lot of solo practice and just practicing certain techniques by yourself. What was the main driver of that? Because you weren't really entering tournaments at the time. Was it just the love of the game? Did you love learning new things about the characters? What made you push yourself in solo pract?
I don't even like. I wanted to be really good, and I wanted to win tournaments, but I didn't like the act of competing in tournaments, if that makes sense. I just wanted to be really fucking good, and I just really liked the game a lot, and I liked beating people, and I don't know, it was really just love of the game, I think, for me for a really long time. And when I was like going to tournaments more in that MDVA era, I definitely did love to actually go to tournaments. Now it's different, but when I was like new and like going to locals and shit, that was really fun. And like trying to like get onto the PR and beat the PR players was always like a big motivating factor for me. Like making PR for the first time was really cool because I made it like pretty. I think I was the highest debuted on the PR. Like I was, I like debuted at 9th or something, which is really good.
Yeah. Especially in that region.
Yeah, it's a hard region. And then I just kind of like kept improving and kept getting better results. And I really don't know what exactly I did. I don't know. I feel like I'm good at learning quickly. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I really just naturally learned Melee pretty quickly, and it came pretty natural to me. And I just kept really working at it, and I saw success. I don't know. That's like the best way I can really describe it.
No. That's great. I would love to touch on that, which is like, how did you know what to learn? Because, you know, for me, for example, I'll do VOD review, and I'll be like, okay, you know, I missed this, that. Oh, okay, I was getting punished for this, that. Go into Uncle Punch or whatever and practice it. For you, when you weren't, you know, playing that many tournaments or having that many VODs, how did you know what the next steps you had to take to get better?
So the way I got good was, I think this is the way most people should get good, is you get insanely cracked tech skill and punish, and you could just kill people off of one hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just get really good at that, and you don't need to work on the fucking mind games and your neutral. And anyway, it doesn't matter if your neutral is insane when you're a low level player. If you win neutral 8 times and the other guy just kills you off one neutral interaction, like that guy's just gonna win.
Yeah.
So like the punish is, and the tech skill and everything is the foundation. And I just got so cracked at all of that stuff. And then I developed a brain and like thinking about the game after. And I watched like every single Axe VOD like over and over again, like really just watched it all and studied a lot of VODs and shit. And even just like other characters, like I just watched a lot of Melee too. I always thought about the game. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you're just so involved in like the game itself and the culture. You're just thinking about it. The ideas just sit with you. And it's just, I've been doing this for so long now that it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a weird, like it just comes so naturally to me. And I always felt that like at first when I started playing, I always felt like I remember saying after my first tournaments, like I don't know why, but I think I could get really good at this game. I said that to my friend and he remembers still. I brought that up recently. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's sick.
I always say like I think I have some sort of weird autistic knack for this game. And I do. So I think I spotted it pretty early on and I was like, I gotta keep going with this. I guess that's really what it is. Like you spot something you have a knack for early on and you're like, I'm just going to fucking go 110%. And I just kind of did good.
Yeah. Was it ever like a worry to commit to going 110%? Because like, you're in college, you're going to go do a job and stuff.
There's a lot of learning about yourself and what you actually want. Because for a while it was like, oh, the next natural step is maybe I could try to do full-time Melee. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you don't want to do that. It's like, that's not... you just think you want to do that because you think that's the next natural step. But it's really just you have to define that actual relationship with the thing you're passionate about for yourself. And like doing full time is just like you're more of a content creator and like you're a fucking personality. I hate that shit. I just don't look at me. Let me just fucking play my game. Fuck you. So I just want like a normal like tech job, work from home, chill like that, and play my game when I want to, kind of shit. And that's great. I think those are both like the top player, Mr. Celebrity Man, and like the average man who is pro gamer. I think they're two sides of the same coin at the end of the day, and they're both great. And it's really, again, like what you make out of playing Melee. It's just finding a healthy relationship with it.
Yeah. Well, speaking about that, I would love to talk to you about your mindset in competition. Do you like competition? Is that something that drives you? Is that something that you think is like, I gotta go to a tournament? Like, what's your thoughts?
For a long time, I had a pretty, I'd say like, I don't want to say unhealthy, but not a great tournament mindset. I just feel that I put a lot of pressure on myself every time I would go to anything. Like I would just be really, really stressed out the whole time. And I think like I would play so nervous and so like every time I'm in tournaments, always the entire time I'm just on edge. I'm just stressed out. I'm anxious. I think the only thing, like I think my skill at preparing for the tournament and like the actual game just carried me so much because my anxiety and nerves were so bad and my mentality, it was just so shaky the whole time. So I recently had to really just come to terms with why I compete and what I actually want out of Melee. And it's really just you have to realize that you don't have to compete, you don't have to do anything, and I more so like playing the game, and that's okay too, but you need to be able to see the greater picture of like why you're competing and you should try to find fulfillment and enjoy the journey of actually competing instead of just wanting to win and thinking like, oh, if I lose, this can look really bad, or this is a really bad loss, or oh, I really want to win because I've been working so hard to win. It's like you should be at the tournament and you should be enjoying it. And if you're not, you don't have to enter. You can still enjoy the tournament and not enter. And I've done that a bunch of times. And enjoying the tournament and not entering has made me want to enter more tournaments. Mm-hmm. And it's really nice because it's just like a chill vibe and you can just enjoy like Melee. You don't have to enjoy just the competing aspect. And for LACS, that was like the first time I really had like fun while entering a major. And it was because when I went there, I was like, I was really in like a fuck Melee kind of mood, and I was like, I don't even want to play, I don't want to compete anymore, I just want to go, I want to hang out with my friends. I'm just gonna like, because a bunch of my friends were there, like Zane, Moki, and Salt, like friends of mine, they got invited, so they were there. I was hanging out with Malachi a lot. I fucking love Malachi. He got
that he's Ethiopian.
Show me
so
a lot.
Respect.
Show me a crazy dispensary.
I'm pretty sure he's.
But
I'm pretty sure he's Ethiopian. So I gotta shout out my
he's
boy.
Ethiopian.
Yeah,
dude, he fucking
respect,
he was just playing SDJ, and he just had like a brown paper bag just spilt over with like at least 10 grams of weed, just in the separate bags, just spilling out on the table, and he's just playing Puff Peach, just going crazy.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
You know, it was like I was just more so happy to be there and happy to be with my friends and to hang out and to watch Melee that I didn't focus on the tournament, and I didn't give a shit about really how it was going to go. And then I just did well because I was just like, I'm just going to have fun playing Melee. And that sounds so cliche, but it's just like I don't make any money from this. It's just,
yeah.
Like if I'm not enjoying it, I should just not do it. And that's what I realized. And it's like, if I don't have to do it, I don't have to enjoy it. I always felt like I had to play Melee. And in me telling myself, it's like, oh, I don't enjoy this, I don't have to do it, I stopped doing it. And then I didn't feel forced to do it. Mm-hmm. But then I realized that I actually did want to do it. That makes sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Like
it's like the abstract, like fucking...
Once you take like that step back, you realize what you've missed, and you
it's really about taking that step back and like having that perspective. Because I was talking to one of my friends about it, and he was just like, like if you don't, if someone was like challenger in League, and they said they didn't want to play League anymore, would you tell them they didn't play enough League or that they should keep playing? It's like, no, you do other things with your life. Like it's okay. Like you've had a very successful career. You don't have to keep playing. Like you could be happy with what you did. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And that made me a lot more okay with where I currently am, instead of just thinking like, oh, I think I should really be performing at this level, yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, I should do this, I can do this. And it's just, you can't think of it like that. And yeah, I've been thinking about those kind of thoughts lately, and it's been helping me a lot with my relationship with Melee, and it's turned out really, really well.
That's awesome. I'd love to ask a couple questions on that too. I mean,
yeah.
Like, for example, do you think that anxiety, that pressure was, placed inwards by expectations that you had on yourself, or outwards by expectations that other people had on you? Where do you think that angst came from?
I think a little bit of both. I think it's very easy to get lost in the sauce of the Melee world, where you think that it's just the only thing that exists, and results are like so important. And a lot of other people get way too... I think there's a good amount of other Melee players that don't realize it, but they also get too lost in it and gotta take a step back and get some perspective. And it's hard to, when that's like the thing that you're most passionate about and you work for hours on end every day. But it really is like, you should be doing it to fulfill your life and to enjoy it. And it's just a game, and losing 3 out of 5 games is really not that big. Like, the way I look at it is, you can really lose to anybody. You can lose 3 games. Take any subset of 3 games you played to somebody. Yeah. And if you lost those 3, then technically there's a world where that person beats you in tournament. That's what I try to think about. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you can lose to anyone, you could win, you could beat anybody. So it's really just be mentally prepared for anything. It's just a fucking game. not the end of the world, and everybody is just like, oh, my wins, my losses, my rank is so important. You can't really think about it like that. I don't know. Just what was the original question? I'm just rambling.
No, that was you answered it, and I'll move on to the next one before we maybe switch topics, which is I saw this tweet from Grab, the Marth player, and it went around the lines of it's very hard or practically impossible to be the best at this video game and have a very healthy relationship with it. Is that something that you believe, or do you think that is mistaken? Because I can understand the sentiment for sure when you have to push yourself so far. I understand the
sentiment, but I think it's unfair to say that. I understand where he's coming from, and I think he should rephrase it to it is incredibly difficult to have a healthy relationship with Melee. And it is, I don't know. I feel like Zane has a pretty healthy relationship with, I don't know. I think of number one, I think of Zane. I know Zane, he's got a pretty healthy relationship with it, I think, especially compared to a lot of the other top players. I think, a lot of the other top guys can put a lot of like stress on themselves too, and they get too, lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
And I think Zane does a good job at keeping perspective, and I never really see him get too down. He'll just be like, he'll lose, and then he'll just be like, damn, and then he gets all silent, and he just puts his one little protagonist tweet out. He's like, I will win, and then he just shits on everybody next time. I don't really see that as unhealthy, but and that's the thing, you can't really define what's healthy for someone else and what's healthy for you. I think if 99.9% of people tried to become number one, they would have to have incredibly unhealthy relationships with it. And
I feel that
there comes to a point where you kind of need to, because you can't get so enveloped in anything without having some sort of obsession. You can't get good at Melee without having an obsession with it. So it's going to be natural that you have to make some sort of like relationship choice with that, whether it's like healthy, and it's easy for it to become unhealthy, but it's a necessity at the end of the day.
One more question actually to round out this topic, which is, that leads into burnout, which is, you've been just grinding so much and you might not have the healthiest mentality when it comes to the game, and you just burn out of the scene or have to take a long step back. Is that something that you have dealt with? And if so, like, what do you think the Melee community needs to do better in order to try to stop burnout? Because, I think everyone wants players to be happy and to be competing and having fun and not, mauling and quitting,
Yeah, I think, well, at the end of the day, that just comes down to the individual again, because I burn out, but my fucking stamina is so low compared to all the other top players. Like, someone who burned out, like a good friend of mine, Salt, she went to fucking like so many tournaments and she burned out, and now she's like taking a break for a few months, and that's fine. You can do that. It's not a bad thing, but I think you have to burn out once or twice to realize your limits. And once you know those limits, then you can really play around them. But honestly, if you're burned out, it's because you've probably been working really hard at the end of the day. So you should reward yourself by, chill, like take a chill pill. That's like your body's way of saying, hey, like body and brain's way of saying, we need to chill out. We've been working too hard.
Yeah.
And, that means you've been putting in a lot of good effort already, and you can take some time off. But, you get to the top guys, like Cody said, he was burning out. He's trying to be number one. So that's another tricky thing, because he's just trying to beat everybody.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole different ball game where he's just got to be so on top of like everything. And burning out for him is different too, because he's playing for like 9 hours a day on the regular. He's like, all right, I'm gonna take a break, 2 days off, and back to playing 9 hours a day. It's just, and he can do that. He can do that though, and it's really just knowing your limits. And there's nothing really the community can do. I think maybe schedule tournaments a little further apart from each other, but like even then that's not really up to the venue and a bunch of other factors that really aren't in anyone in particular's control. So it's really just up to the players to make healthy life choices too. Like I was talking to Spark and he was like, dude, I didn't realize if you're like just a healthy person that exercises, you have better reaction times for tech chasing. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you? You're 26. Like, what? I love Spark, but like, yeah, a lot of people are just like, let's play for 8 hours a day, but it's like, all right, well, if you just fucking like eat some vegetables and go on a run, maybe you'll have more energy to play more and better like focus.
That's pretty funny because I just interviewed Wizrobe, and shout out to Wizrobe. Yeah, and they were like, yeah, like I've been really focusing on just like eating better, exercising.
Yeah,
and,
it makes a huge difference.
You play better when you do it. There's science behind it too. Yeah.
Yeah, my reaction tech chases when I'm just like, I haven't smoked weed in like 2 weeks and I'm reaction tech chase, nobody's safe.
Dude, I swear, like when you're on weed, you're like, dude, I'm the best player in the world. But then you take some like weed on, it's like, okay, you know what? I sucked when I'm like
No, when you're winning and you're stoned, you're like, I am the greatest player to touch control. And you're losing, it's like, what is even happening to me? You blink and you're already dead.
Yeah. Dude, switching it up a little bit, how did you find Pikachu? What was the things that said, you know what, I'm going to take this character to its, push it to its brink? I mean,
I just really liked Pokemon and I like being the quirky, different kid, like, hey, look at me, I'm a little different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was only natural that I just played Pikachu. I thought Axe gimping Spaceys was funny. Well, I thought it was cool, and now I think it's hilarious. I thought it was so cool when he would gimp Spaceys, and now I know it's not cool. It's just very funny. It's literally just been, I've never felt the need to switch off of him until like I'd fucking play Fox Puff and like fuck Jigglypuff and then some other niche matchups. But it's one thing to like pick up a secondary and to just drop your main completely. And I don't think I need to drop Pikachu. I think it would be stupid for me to drop Pikachu because I think that's how I think about the game. That's what I enjoy the game playing as the most.
What was the thing that really set you off about Pikachu Jigs to where you said, you know what, I'm just breaking out the Fox?
It's just, I played against a few Puffs and a few brackets. I remember like Dawson and like Big Kid. I lost to them a couple times, and then it was just like, dude, like this, I can't do shit. Like it's just, it feels so hopeless because she can just, you can't up smash her if she's on a platform. So she just circle camps the platforms, and she got 6 jumps, so you can't fucking get her landing. You don't build percent. It's just so hopeless, and I'm like, fuck this shit. I did.
Yeah.
Other people play secondaries. Armada plays Fox against Puff, whatever, and I just picked up Fox because Fox shits on Puff. And I think Pikachu, going from Pikachu to Fox is really good because most things you can do with Pikachu, you can kind of do with Fox. Pretty similar jump squats, similar kind of like low range movement based character. Dash dance, nair, up smash, shit like that.
Yeah.
So Fox came really naturally to me, and I just became like a Fox Puff menace, and that's now just one of my best matchups. I think it's an awful matchup, especially box Fox against Puff. It's just, she's so bad when you're playing it right.
Yeah, I think that matchup's pretty skewed towards Fox too, but I'm just a Fox main who believes in Fox. I don't know. That leads us to our Michigan connection question. It's the part of the show where I tie in a player from Michigan and hit them up to ask a question. This one is from Baron, our local Pikachu main. And he asks, what do you think are Pikachu's more unexplored techs or tools that you think could be pushed farther?
I think reaction tech chasing with down throw is really, really strong. You can do it against, it's really easy against Falcon, actually, because Falcon's tech animations are pretty easy to react to. It's more difficult than tech chasing with like Sheik or Falcon because Pikachu's grab is really tiny. So when they tech away, you have to be a lot more ready for it. And yeah, it's really difficult, but you can just zero to death fast fallers a lot of times off. Not as much Falco. Falco, you can get like down throw up smash, which is really strong too. But down throw up tilt on tech in place is also really, really good. I have like a lot of different flowcharts for all the different DIs, and there's a lot to it. But I think just the reaction tech chasing game in general, because it's really easy to, or not easy, but it's really good to just, you need to take all your openings against fast fallers as far as possible nowadays, because neutral is just so hard in general that every time you touch the fox, they should be dead. And like on Dreamland, I think Dreamland is low-key better than Fountain for Pikachu because you can chain grab Fox until 40%, until he goes onto the side platforms with up throw. So you chain grab him, then he gets into the corner, then you could down throw him. And if he techs in, then you can get another up throw chain grab. And if he techs in place, you can get another down throw. And if he techs away, you can forward throw. There's like all these different little things you could do to just flowchart, kill a fox on that stage. And just in general, but it works the best on Dreamland. But yeah, it's really just down throw tech chasing, up tilt a lot too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those things in particular.
Moving on a little bit, I know that you were referencing how you watch Axe VODs all the time, you know, as you were moving up the ranks. But when I watch you guys, I feel like you're very different in terms of your play styles. Could you elaborate on what are some of the similarities between you and Axe and what are some of the main differences?
Yeah, I think so obviously learning the game, I watched like every single Axe VOD. I need to watch more of my Axe VODs. During all of COVID, he didn't or most of COVID, he didn't really play. So there was nothing to really watch, and I haven't gotten back on it since. But I learned a lot of the basic shit and then just kind of went off in my own branch. I think it's because just playing on a box style controller makes you see the game differently. And I approach the game very, very different from him. He's like the epitome of like the old school player, and I'm the new school player. Yeah. Where he's all about like playing by feel and making player reads and just doing a bunch of crazy niche specific shit. And I'm more about like, oh, I have a game plan and the flow charts and I'm like labbing things. He's more so playing like raw fundamentals like Melee, and I'm playing like Pikachu, if that makes sense. I think he would agree with that too. That's kind of how he described it. But I do a lot more Pikachu specific things than he does, and he does a lot more like player call outs. And it's really cool because it's like the yin and yang of Melee, and I've been trying to get a lot better at the stuff that he's really good at, and it's really good to learn from that completely different perspective. Like he releases a Pikachu deconstructed guide, and it was really basic. Like I didn't really like learn much about the matchups, but it gave me an insight to how he thought about the matchups. So it's like, oh, that's what he's thinking when he does like X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh, that's how he thinks about it, and that helped a lot too. So really trying to learn from different perspectives, I think, is really, really important.
You touched on a little thing that I would like to touch on, which is that your playstyle is different just because you're a box Pikachu as well. First off, like, why the switch to box? Was it hand pain or was it? Yeah,
my hands are fucked.
Okay.
I got the box like really early on, and I thought it was going to be like a worse controller.
So one of the interesting things is Baron, our local Pikachu main who asked the Michigan connection question, also switched to box as well, and it was interesting to see him, you know, relearn some of the things. How easy, how difficult was that for you going from scratch and learning the box?
I think I did it during like peak COVID, so I had all the time in the world, and it really is just how much time you decide to put into it. So I played for like 8 hours a day of just straight Uncle Punch. Like I would just grind out every little thing, and in like 3 weeks I was already playing, like I was playing friendlies with like Zane and like people that I would normally play friendlies with like 3 weeks later. Wow. And it was different, but it wasn't like much worse. And yeah, I mean, that was only my Pikachu at that point. I didn't get my Fox good that quickly. Fox was more like 6 weeks to 2 months.
Mhm.
That's also like I played 2 characters, and that's like that's my secondary. So it really is just how much time you put into it. Like if you're playing for like 30 minutes a day, then it's going to take you obviously a lot more than 2 months.
Yeah.
If you're playing for 8 hours a day, it'll take you like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. But and each person thinks about it pretty differently. And as long as you just know what you're doing and don't start with any bad habits, like just L canceling with Z and wave dashing with R, and you're fine.
I didn't know you had to L cancel with Z on the box. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, if you do it because L is your pinky and R is your index finger, and just doing it using your pinky too much is bad for your pinky, and this R is for your wave dash. So you use Z, which is your ring finger, to L cancel.
Oh, okay, I see. So now you're playing on the obelisk, which got its name from, I guess, LACS5. It doesn't look like an obelisk. This is something that we talked about. An obelisk is like the Washington Monument. Okay, that's a pyramid.
Yeah,
but
it's a pyramid.
Can you describe it? You can shout out who made it as well. And
yeah, so the person that made it, their tag is Woon Wei. If you want to check them out, look up woonvzn.com. That is WUNVZN.com. That's my shill because they sponsor me.
Absolutely, yeah, go check them
out. It's made to be ergonomic. So it's just I got this little pillow here. It's just really comfortable to hold in my lap. I can play for a fuck ton longer when I use it. That's this really high quality. It's made of like aluminum and shit. And there's going to be more models of this coming out. Like I'm going to be testing a bunch of other like ergonomic controllers they have for the future. There's some other different designs that they have coming out. So yeah, I think it's definitely the future of like actually ergonomic controllers. It's like a flat controller. It only does so much, like, because this is very unnatural for your hands to be in.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a very natural position for your hands to be in. So I definitely, if you get a controller specifically for hand pain, it's like this.
Does that just like take away the hand pain for you personally? I mean, obviously I'm not.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's sick. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. It doesn't take it away completely, but it's a lot less. Like if I'm playing a lot, maybe my fingers will get tired.
Yeah.
Then I gotta like take a rest. But like a lot of like over here and like over here, it would hurt like the top of my hands too, because your hands just cramp and it's just unnatural to hold them like that.
Yeah. Well, dude, I would like to touch a little bit on public perception of the box, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
Like, every time a box player comes on, that's basically what either commentary or chat is going to be talking. Box. I guess 2 questions is, how do you take that into account? I mean, do you not mind it? Does it bother you? And if it does bother you, how do you deal with that?
I think it's annoying when it depends how much it is. Like the Bobby Zip cheater meme was funny.
Yeah.
I love Bobby, but it got killed so hard. Every time I played, it was just fucking repeating the same stupid meme. And that was annoying because it's like, I'm playing. Can you like talk about the game? And the commentators even with just all they're talking about is my fucking controller and the shitty meme that they just say the same thing over and over again. It's like, can you look at the fucking match?
Yeah.
And that's when it's annoying. But I mean, the obelisk meme was kind of funny. That was like, because it's like the zip cheater, like it's just because then they just start talking about how box cheating and then just this whole legality rule set complaint. It's fucking annoying. Like obelisk because it was just like, oh, it looks funny. Like that's it's a lot less annoying. Natured, that's fine. It's fine because it was funny. It's funny looking. Okay, as long as that's not every single time I play. Ever, like, okay, the first time I bring it to a tournament, it's fucking Ludwig Slime commentating, like they can make fun of it. But if it's like 4 years down the line, I'm in fucking like grand finals of Genesis 13. They're just like, yo, look at the obelisk. Like, fuck you, man. Talk about the game.
Well, dude, that's very interesting. Yeah, because
it's annoying, but I mean, what are you gonna do at the end of the day? It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there's like misconceptions about the box and legality and stuff like that? Because last time we chatted, you mentioned that you were a part of that I guess the group that is looking to implement some changes or nerfs to the box.
Yeah. I think people think it's more broken than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's pretty degenerate. Yeah, I think people freak out about it too much, and people just gotta fucking suck it up at the end of the day. I don't really I don't really know what else to say. It's I mean, I think it's a net positive. It lets people that previously can't play the game play.
Yeah.
And people gotta remember that. And it's like, all right, people play really cringe on it. Okay, we're gonna nerf it. It's just like, you can't ban it. I don't know. I think discrediting people for winning with it is cringe, because it's like, it's I don't know. It's in the rule set. It's legal. Like,
Yeah.
who the fuck cares? Like, I don't know. Shit like that's always weird to me when people try to discredit a win, because it's like, they won.
Yeah.
Like, for something like okay, if somebody's like fucking like 12 shots in and you beat them, so you can discredit that win.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like, I'm discrediting your win because you play on box, it's like fuck you, man. I mean, this is in the rule set. You tried to win. I tried to win. I played with my the rule legal controller. I won. Fuck you. It's like, I just think people are babies about it. It's just not that big a deal. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, even at like my level, like I'm like a 2-2er, and like we still hear stuff like, "Oh, he played on box, so I didn't know," or just like, "Come on, bro, you're missing L cancels." Like,
I do
let's
understand
go.
that like it is easier to do a lot of things on box, and playing box does feel like a different matchup, but it's not like the end of the world. It's not like they're bad players if they're not on a box, you know?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna win a tournament anytime soon if I switch to box. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, people don't.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Like, I think last question on the box stuff, because I don't know, I'm sick of the controller discourse too a little bit. I just want homies to play the video game at this point.
Yeah.
But you are part of that secret cabal, so I'll put my hoodie on real quick while we talk about this. What changes are being talked about or being, maybe implemented in the future, if any?
Yeah, so there's gonna be like a stick travel time nerf. So when you move the stick, obviously there's like a travel time. You're not going from, because the box, it goes from like the value of 0.0 to 1.0 on the cardinal. With the stick, it's gotta be like a motion. So we're gonna like basically simulate that on the box in a way that makes it so box players like move slower, because that dash dance is fucking crazy. And a bunch of other small changes, like if you hold left and right at the same time, what would happen is you would get, say you'd press left and you press right. Even if you're holding down left still, you would go to the right. But now they're going to make it neutral. So if you hold down both buttons, it's just neutral.
Oh, and what would that help with? DI, or
it's just slower. It makes them slow down.
Okay.
It just makes things. It's really just like, I've played on it, and it just feels like doing things requires more precision, and you have to slow down a little bit, but it feels a lot more like it's on a controller,
Yeah.
So it feels like, I think it's a very, very good change. It literally just makes moving more difficult.
Well, there you go. All right. I don't see anyone about to kill me behind me. I'll take the hood off. Enough about box stuff. Let's go into more of Melee and how it's helped you outside of the game. You were talking about how you found Melee and the Smash Club at university, which is a very transformative era for a lot of people when you're there in college. What are some life lessons you think you've learned from Melee that you can place outside of the game as well?
That's a good question. Honestly, there's so much. It's about like I got really good at being in front of people and having eyes on me, because when I play on stream, there's like fucking thousands of people watching me.
Yeah.
And I'm just really used to that now. And like dealing with I feel like dealing with tournament nerves, and just like meeting like high up people in Melee. it's made me a lot calmer in situations like my nerves in general. You kind of learn how to control your nerves in general,
Mhm.
you know, and you know what it's like to be around like micro celebrity people, so you don't get as starstruck. I guess those, but it's also just like making these relationships with people and meeting all these people from a community, because Melee is kind of just like one giant fraternity.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, let me.
how to have like a healthy mindset with competition. Just like every little aspect of every little life lesson can be taken from some sort of Melee thing.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to touch on the community aspect because that's something that's super, super important to me. It's why I love the scene. Just so many homies. I mean, it's just so many friends.
Yeah.
And you just get
like
to
all my best friends.
Yeah.
Most of my best friends are from, like, I'm driving to a wedding tomorrow, or after this, I'm driving to a wedding in Baltimore for my friend that I know through Melee. So it's like,
yeah, it's incredible.
a bunch of my Melee friends are going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I really think is a blessing and something that I haven't really found outside. I've been fortunate enough to be part of a lot of communities, and there's something about Melee that it's just, the community is just so strong. And I think that's the reason
Die
why.
hard homies.
Yeah. That's the reason why it's lasted so long.
Yeah.
Moving on. I mean, what are you said that you had this like fire and this desire from the get-go about Melee that just, drove you. Do you have that type of fire desire in other aspects of life outside of the game, or is that just a Melee specific thing?
I think it's just a Melee thing. It's not even as much anymore. That was more so like during COVID and stuff. But even I still feel that. But it's really just a Melee thing. Because I think it really is the one thing I'm very passionate about and care a lot about. So I really just do that. I do feel that way with Melee. I kind of felt that way because in high school I was big on running track and cross country.
Let's go.
And I kind of felt that way there, but I just liked winning. I liked competing and winning. So now it's just Melee, and I just like the game and like mostly everything about I don't know, just how far I've come, the friends I've made, and the game itself. I just really love all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you a little bit about running because I did track and cross country in high school and college. So first out, respect. You picked the right sport. You're sick as hell. Second thing is, do you see any similarities between like the running and Melee? Because I definitely see some similarities just in
because I had a really dog shit mentality with running, and that carried over with Melee, where it was towards the end it was less dog shit, and it's just like it was like a progression. So yeah, I had a really good mentality with Melee for a long time starting out, and then yeah, and it's kind of because I was competing a lot in track. Like earlier I said I didn't have a great mentality, great relationship with Melee, and that's only like the past like year or two, because things are different when you become like get to the top level. But yeah, I learned a lot about competing through running track and about keeping yourself accountable, about working hard and like preparing for your competitions and everything.
Yeah. Moving on a little bit, is there any other hobbies or, like sports or things that you do outside of Melee that you're interested in? I know you said you like Pokemon. Do you still play?
Yeah, I still play Pokemon. I was playing a Pokemon battle before this, and I played Generation 3.
Okay.
So like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, like the competitive Pokemon Showdown. I like that. That's pretty fun. Other than video games, I like to read too. I've been reading. I read this book, Man's Search for Meaning, recently. I told you about that.
Yeah.
The last time we talked, and it was a really good book. It's about people in the Holocaust, or this one dude in the Holocaust who's like a psychologist, and he was like talks about how everyday life was as a Holocaust survivor, and then it goes into like the psychology of like wanting to live and like having hope and everything. It's like really deep and not to get all sad and shit.
Yeah.
But that book is really good. And other like neuroscience, psychology-esque books I like to read as well. Yeah, working out too. Like I did track, so obviously like I'll go to the gym and shit. I'll still run. But yeah, a lot of just Melee, other video games.
Yeah. I saw like I asked you last time about the guitars and we learned a little bit.
Yeah,
it's more the family.
That's my family. There is at least like 25 guitars in this house. My whole family is like very big on music and I'm the gamer.
Did you like have any interest in making music, playing music, or you just like
not really? I mean, I picked up drums really long time ago when I was like in first grade because my brother's doing guitar, and it's just like kind of stopped doing it after a while. And yeah, I don't know. It's just not as appealing to me as like like video games and Melee and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the question that I wanted to ask you, which we will probably cut out, but it was gonna be, do you feel like some people feel this sense of regret of being in Melee because it's so consuming and they don't get to branch out as much, maybe in different areas in their life? Do you feel that, or are you just thankful for just having that one cornerstone?
I do not feel that at all because I've put in the effort to avoid that specifically.
Okay, how so?
Because I've had that thought so much of like, or I've been self-aware enough to know, like when I first started going to school at in MDVA, I was like, all right, all my friends are Melee now. I got to do other like non-Melee shit. I was always thinking that, and I tried a bunch of shit, and like it didn't work out, you know. But I still put myself. I tried like running club, and I didn't really vibe with the people much.
Yeah,
but I still had my Melee friends. And then I tried like improv. It fucking sucked. I didn't like improv. But yeah, and then I eventually joined a fraternity. And it was like, I'm doing this because I want to do normal fucking like college person things. And I'm very, very glad that I did, because I would just have a fucking Melee filled day. And I'm just like, I can't do that. I go to my frat house. I just complain about HBox planking me for 5 minutes while I'm drinking a beer. And then I just go and do normal fucking college person shit. Like I needed that. And I think a lot of people really need to get that, like I said, like outside perspective, and like you need to do other shit with your life.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. And I don't think anyone should regret being too consumed in Melee. I think you just have to be aware of how much you are doing it and like branch out, you know? And it is hard. It really is, depending on who you know. But like now that I'm back home, I try to like hang out with my cousin more, and he doesn't play Melee, you know? I try to find out, like I always say, like, it's nice to hang out with people who don't know what a ledge dash is. You know,
it's good to have that separation.
I think that shit's really important, and more people should think about that at least.
What type of music are you listening to usually? I always ask.
I told you, like, girly pop music. I was Tyler Swift. I've been listening to more Taylor Swift, but it's a mix of a bunch of shit. I like Halsey a lot. I like Clairo. I love the Beatles. I love the Beatles. I always throw on the Beatles.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with them.
Getting the Spotify up, but a bunch of like niche little miscellaneous bands too.
Do you well, I guess I already asked you that. I was gonna ask if you ever try to make like more, because I know you did like drums and stuff, but you ever try to do like electronic music? Because I tried to do some music and it was like, dude, it's so hard. Oh my,
it's so hard. I can't. No,
it's so
it's
hard.
So hard.
Like
my brother like produces music. Like that's what he's trying to do full time, and yeah, and he's just working there like 24/7. He does his shit like directly beneath me, and he does death metal music, so I just hear it all the fucking time, and I don't want to hear any more music.
That's super funny. When you want to like just relax, take a little time off, don't want to think about Melee or whatever, what are you doing? Are you going on, reading a book, going on a walk, watching YouTube? What's your
it's usually like, if you look at my YouTube, there's no Melee on there.
Really?
There's minimal Melee. It's mostly Pokemon and like a bunch of other shit. Like comedians, like I love Theo Vaughn. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stand-up stuff. But no, like, cause I just do so much Melee as is that it's like I don't need to watch Melee YouTube videos. Like what's no offense, what is Turned Down for Walt gonna tell me? What's he gonna tell me that happened at fucking Gommel. I was there. I know what happened at Gommel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's just like I play so much. I talk about it so much with my friends already. I get to do other shit. So, yeah, it's like reading, going for runs, just doing anything. Like just calling up my friend, being like, you want to go I went camping the other week. That was fun. Just like whatever I can fill my time with. I play a lot of other video games.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking competitive Pokemon.
You touched on how you tried improv for a little bit and you love comedy like Theo Vaughn. Is humor like a big part of like your personality, you think?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think people would describe me as like a goofy guy. It's gotten me people think a lot of times people think I'm just stupid because I like joke around a lot and I'm very I play stupid just because it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very like dry and pretty blunt with my sense of humor a lot of times, and very sarcastic. And sometimes people don't catch on.
Yeah,
people just think I'm stupid.
You gotta be like a little careful with that in the Melee community. I feel like
I do. People, yeah. But it's funny because only like pretentious people think I'm stupid.
Yeah, it's a good marker. It's just like,
who cares?
It's actually so funny how like you can use humor to like really find like how someone thinks and whether you're gonna vibe with them or not.
No, yeah, like I have a fucked up sense of humor, but it's okay.
Well, dude, I got one more question for you because I asked this last time and I thought it was funny to ask, which was, what are some of your pet peeves in life?
Oh shit! I remember you said something that I agreed with and I completely forgot.
Well, I remember what I said. I said people who are confidently ignorant.
Oh yeah, I told you about, dude. Fucking, I go into the Pikachu Discord and I say, hey guys, I think you guys should try to crouch power shield lasers because it's fucking better. Yeah. And then some dude's just like, I don't think that's good. Fucking O2 or just tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. He's like, yeah, I saw you do that maybe once or twice against Magi. And in parentheses, good job beating her, by the way. But I think it really didn't make a difference on the match. I think you're just drawing wild accusations. Fuck those people piss me off. But
dude, it doesn't get more annoying than that. How do you deal with that? Because there's so much of that shit.
Block him out.
Yeah, okay.
You just can't even interact with it because this is what I did. I took up my own accord. I said, hey, you know what? I'm a top player. I gotta fucking spread my knowledge to these fucking other Pikachu players. Yeah. And then they're just like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Good day, goodbye. I don't know, fucking the last time I posted in there. It was like a year ago. They want a lesson. No. The Pikachu main wants to ask you, say, hey, I want a lesson. I gladly sit down with you. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. You don't want a lesson? You guys got a couple quick questions? Hit my DMs. I always tell anybody anything. I love talking about Pikachu. You tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Go fuck yourself, man.
Dude, that is one thing that I notice a lot about players is that they're actually like a lot of them are just super happy to just like chat and like help out people.
Yeah, no, there's a Fox Discord. The reason I think Pikachu gets there's like no Pikachus doing like all that studying and shit and really wanting to like get good is because it's not, if you want to get good with Pikachu, you play Fox. Like people that are drawn to Pikachu, they're not drawn to like getting really, really good the way that like a lot of people that just play top tiers are. Yeah. So you look at the Fox disc, and I think it's just like a natural. I think it's fine. That's not like a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So I think like the Fox Discord, there's so many there's like over 100 people in here, and there's like top players in here too. And it's just like I go in there. And I had to play the Swooper once, and I was like, I'm gonna go Fox. And I just had like KJH like and Mop Money just in the call with me. And they're like, yeah, do this, and this. And like Zuppy helping me too. And I'm just like, oh, these guys are just chill. They'll just help whoever.
Yeah, it's
because people just like the game. People like talking about the game, and it's cool to play Fox and get to talk to the game with people. Whereas Pikachu is not as many people like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool how you can just like KJH comes to our local shout out recovery.
He's a sick dude.
Yeah, and you can just come up to him, you come up with some respect and just be like chill, and you get good conversations, learn a lot, and it's really, I'm thankful. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I can do this podcast is because I just shouted out some people. Next thing you know, I have a podcast going, because people are just happy to talk about the game. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. And with that, I think this was a great episode. We're going to cross our fingers and hope it actually worked this time. We're going to check immediately.
I got the audacity going.
Yeah, dude. We have the backups on backups. Do you want to shout out anything, socials, sponsors, whatever you want? Shout it out.
I guess, yeah, shout out to the Prism. Earlier I said you want to check it out. It's WUNVZN.com. Or you can just check on my Twitter. You can find a link to the Discord and you can check it out. But other than that, thanks for having me on. It was a great podcast again.
Yeah. This has been Items On. I'm Ethiopium. We were with Swift today. Thanks for watching.